Hello gamers, I'm Travis and I started playing New World again about a week ago, and it's actually pretty good. In this video I will share my experience both in the past and now, and if you feel the same way, maybe it's time to check out or revisit New World. So first, let's talk about the past. New World released a little bit over a year ago, and I felt like it was in a very incomplete state. To me, MMORPGs are like mansions, with loads of rooms, loads of things to do, but New World was like a mansion that only had a few great rooms, while most of it was still under construction and unfinished. It was missing a lot of quality of life things, and the content available was not enough in my opinion. But that is quite alright, because most MMOs release like this. Final Fantasy XIV was objectively not a good game until A Realm Reborn expansion. ESO was considered a buggy mess until one Tamriel patch. BDO was a mess for the first few years, and honestly I can go on with all popular MMOs. In my opinion, they were all pretty disappointing at release. But what I think sets apart a successful MMORPG from a failed one is passionate developers that stick to their product and improve it over time, and I believe this is exactly what is happening when it comes to New World. Well, first of all, I would like to talk about the quality of life changes that nobody notices unless they are not there. These changes range from small ones, like the ability to move while having your inventory open, to big changes, like being able to access all storage space from any stash. I could make an hour-long video talking about each and every one of these changes, because there are so many of them. But it's safe to say that the game will feel so much better to play, and I think that's all that matters to most of us. Next, we should talk about the notable changes. First of all, it's mostly a PvE game. We should talk about dungeons, or as they call them in New World, expeditions. And I know some people will disagree with me, but MMORPGs are mainly focused on PvE, with some PvP elements. It's like desserts are mainly sweet, and some might use spices in their desserts, but there is only so much spice you can put into a dessert before most dessert lovers will not want to eat it. But I digress, back to the topic. Expeditions have seen pretty nice improvements. They have new scaling difficulties that will keep most people occupied for quite a while. On top of that, there are a few new expeditions, and I think they are pretty amazing. They are very nicely designed, and honestly they are quite visually stunning. But what makes them amazing is not the visuals or the abilities that bosses have, but the combat. New World is the only big MMORPG in the West that has true action combat, and the interactions between this combat and the dungeon mechanics is what makes these dungeons so satisfying to do. The developers seem to be releasing new expeditions every few months, so if they continue to do so in the future or add extra difficulty levels with new mechanics, I believe this will keep people that love this kind of content satisfied. Another massive change is the addition of new weapons. Since release they added 2 new weapons, with the third one coming out right around this video's release. They are the Void Gauntlet, a magical type weapon, the Blunderbuss, which is basically a shotgun with short to medium range, and the Greatsword. But weapons in New World act like more than classes in other MMORPGs, because you use 2 weapons, which means that each new weapon added to the game opens a lot of new combinations. I always felt that New World had too few weapons at release, and I believe it still needs more variety when it comes to weapons, like daggers, pistols, a katana, maybe even a scythe or other varied weapons. But I believe that right now the game is in a good spot, and it provides enough choices to satisfy the vast majority of players. Since I'm talking about weapons, the Brimstone update will also bring Hearthstone gems, which will act as an ultimate ability that works independent of your weapons. This will further your ability to customize your playstyle and will bring a lot more depth to the combat in New World. The next point I would like to touch on is the environment. And the environment of New World is maybe the best in the MMO genre. Only the world of BDO can compete with it. However, without a changing and expanding world, the game will feel stale. this latest update will bring a massive zone about the size of 3 other zones. But that's not all. There are also changes coming to the old zones. From new jumping puzzles, overhauling 2 whole cities, adding faction headquarters, there are a lot of changes. And this is exactly what MMORPGs need with massive expansions. Often enough, MMOs just add new zones and the old ones get forgotten. The changes to the old zones don't need to be extreme, but just something to show that those zones still matter. One of the last points, but equally important, is PvP. I feel like PvP has seen mostly quality of life changes, but the devs did add a 3 vs 3 arena. This might satisfy some, but personally I believe that the game needs a few more battleground maps, and then it will probably be in a great spot for PvP. When talking about new additions, we should also look at trade skills. In my personal opinion, these have always been amazing in New World, and they have seen some improvement and quality of life changes over the past year. The devs have only added one new trade skill, which is the ability to be a musician. Similar to other trade skills, it is extremely well done, and while it provides the ability to have fun with others, it also provides various buffs. New trade skills will always be welcomed, but I personally believe New World was never lacking when it comes to this, and I do understand why they are focusing on other elements of the game. The last thing that I should mention when talking about new things, and I know a vast majority of MMORPG gamers are interested in, is the story. With the addition of Brimstone Sands, they have revamped the story and made it more interactive. I think it's a vast improvement, but we will have to see how the community will react to it. So now that we talked about all the new amazing things, what major things is New World still missing? Well, I did mention that it could use more weapons and a few more battleground maps, but even without them the game is in a decent place. That being said, I think the biggest thing that New World is missing are mounts. And no, traveling between locations is not the main reason why I believe they should be added to the game. Walking everywhere can be frustrating indeed, but in New World there are plenty of teleport shrines, which to some degree lessen this problem. The main reason why I believe they should be added is because I believe they are an integral part of the MMO experience. Just like trade skills or housing, you can play the game without, but it lessens the experience. That being said, they have confirmed they are working on mounts and they will be released in the future. No dates have been stated yet and no more details have been given on the subject. I just hope that they get inspired from games like Guild Wars 2 or Arcade and bring an amazing mount system that will keep people engaged for hundreds of hours. I just hope they don't end up throwing a horse at us and calling it a day, because that will feel more disappointing than not having mounts. So for now we will have to wait and see. Another thing the New World is missing is freedom when customizing your character, and I believe in this case the devs have severely underestimated how much value people put into their characters. This problem honestly has many facets. For example, while costumes exist in game, they are undyeable, despite the dyeing system being available in game. On top of that, they are subpar when compared to in-game armors. So, if in-game armors look fantastic, what's the problem? Well, there is no way to copy the looks of one armor onto another, which basically means that all the wonderful armors and the countless hours that the New World art team spent on creating them are wasted in the vast majority of cases, which is a shame. It seems to me that they are trying to improve this aspect of the game, but they are moving very slowly. I heard that some kind of transmog system is in the works, and when it comes around, it will fix a good part of this problem. But for now, we have nothing confirmed. The last element that I think New World really needs is loadouts. The game offers a serious amount of depth and freedom when it comes to equipment, weapon customization, and so on. So, if you are someone that has equipment for each high-level mutation, or someone that plays both PvE and PvP, you will have to constantly change your gear, and it can become quite frustrating over time. I think when it comes to equipment, 10 to 15 or even more loadouts are necessary for the various builds available in-game. And when it comes to weapon skill builds, I think at least 2 loadouts would be wonderful. so people can have one for PvE and one for PvP. I do, however, believe that given time, these shortcomings will be fixed, but I hope they will be sooner rather than later. In conclusion, I believe New World is in a great spot right now, and while it might need more things to do for some people, I think a vast majority of players will be satisfied by the experience. If you are an MMORPG gamer, I urge you to check it out. The game has no paywalls or pay to win beyond the initial price, so if you had it before, it will not cost you anything to play the new expansion, unlike other MMOs. Let me know in the comment section below what you think of New World at the moment, and where do you think it will be in another year. Thanks for watching. I'm a new content creator and I would really appreciate if you would help the channel out by leaving a like and subscribing. See you in the next one, gamers.